Hello and welcome to a special edition. And please do like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification button so that you know when we're going live. And thank you, RP, for saying that we can wait a couple of minutes. People, don't be mean. They are very mean. I think I have the meanest viewers anybody on YouTube has because they're constantly harassing me. And I think one thing which will stop, at least for this show, is that AIM is back. So you all can stop nagging me about him on every show. And AIM, join us. And of course, Professor's back as well. And today we're going to be discussing something really interesting. We're discussing the captain's rage. So let's get to it. It's been another exciting day in the national capital. And what's happened in the national capital is that Captain Amarinder Singh has been constantly denying why he's here. So first it was, I'm here for a personal meeting. Then it was, okay, I'm not meeting anybody politically. Then he goes and meets Amit Shah. Then he meets NSA Doval. Then it was rumored he might meet the Prime Minister, but that didn't happen. Subsequently, Sidhu went for this closed door meeting with Chani, the new chief minister. And for someone who loves to give sound bites, he exited that meeting, got into his car along with his MLAs, and took off and had nothing to say to the media, which does not augur well for how that meeting went. And of course, Harish Rawat, who is from my home state of Uttarakhand, has been dragged into this fight and is now saying that, look, I have an election coming up in my own state, and I'd like to concentrate on that and not be constantly involved in this. On the other hand, Kapil Sibal went on TV and did a press con and basically said some things that he would have said in a meeting if they actually did ever have a meeting of the Congress senior leadership. So he went ahead and talked about national security, which is critical, and we've been discussing that on the channel as well. And really got no response, but except from, I guess, the lumpen elements in the Congress who came and jumped on top of his car roof in the evening and damaged it. I'm sure Mr. Sibal can pay for those expenses, but it must have been traumatic for someone who's been a former union minister, has fought so many of the Congress's cases in court, has been a loyal congressman for very long, to be attacked in this way. And when he was attacked in this way, Manish Tiwari, Ghulam Nabi Azad, Shashi Tharoor, Sanjay Jha, a lot of people came out and said that this was wrong and unacceptable. So that's a quick wrap of what's happened between today and yesterday and today rather. And I'm joined with AIM and of course Professor Sengupta to break this down further. One last thing I want to add. As of now, Captain has quit the Congress, but he has not joined the BJP, but he's not really clear about what his next move is going to be. So AIM, over to you. Should we start with Kapil Sibal? What happened to him yesterday?
Look, so my take on this is what happened to Kapil Sibal was actually quite coordinated because these were clearly Congress workers saying Kapil Sibal, hosh mein aao and whatnot, smashing his car. And this has actually been a week of hooliganism by the Congress. It started off with Ranveer Shori. Somebody interpreted some photo he put as being anti-Nehru. They started SMSing him all kinds of threats. Party officials directly SMSed him threats. He's put up screenshots of all of that. Very unsubtle threats, but threats nevertheless quite clear. Then Navika, said bloody on TV. And she didn't even say bloody with respect to anything. She was saying, oh, bloody hell or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
But two things happened. First, the Congress spokesperson, herself a former live TV anchor, completely falsely attributed it to her saying something about the Gandhis. And then party workers went to the office of Bennett and Coleman and smashed pots and God knows what else, made threats at her. She has been receiving death threats left, right and center, all kinds of threats, death threats, rape threats, God knows what not else. And then finally there was this episode with Kapil Sibal. Now in the space of 72 hours, you've had three prominent people, a Bollywood actor, a major journalist, and a party leader himself, who have been attacked or threatened to be attacked by Congressy goons. All this while, Rahul loves making all these glib tweets, which just show him to be an immature man-child. He doesn't have the testicular fortitude to open his mouth and say, this really needs to stop. And this is a boy telling us that, India is in the grip of fascism, India is in the grip of a lack of democracy and God knows what not else. So there's something very, very rotten happening out here. And I think what it is that the boy's stupidity has been on full display. He can't blame anybody else for it because everybody knows that Sidhu only got where he did because of his proximity to Rahul. And Rahul is probably smarting. He's unwilling to. And who is Rahul Gandhi? He's nobody in the Congress right now.
Yeah.
And yet everything was being done from his house by him and his sister. Apparently, it's the sister who carries the lion's share of the blame.
Yeah.
Right? But nobody did anything. And now he doesn't want to be criticized for it. So, he's unleashing his stormtroopers to destroy, burn, threaten, whatever.
Yeah,
But,
and Manish,
I'm glad because clearly for the first time in his life, he's actually taking, listening to what's happening outside, what people actually think of him. And for the first time, it's pierced his rhino hide and he's beginning to actually smart.
no, but I think Manish Tiwari, the words he used in his tweet also, where he said no one is fooled or something to that effect by this command performance, and we all know that the high command is a term that is used for the Congress leadership, which is the Gandhis. So the use of the word command in his tweet clearly suggests that these people, especially the G23, think that the kind of hooliganism that took place outside of Kapil Sibal's house was something that the Gandhis probably approved of, or even asked to be done. Either
I
of you,
personally think so, yes. I
yeah,
think all those G23 were particularly upset by the fact that, and Kapil Sibal isn't just some ordinary, worker where there would be some scuffle. तूने ये बोल दिया, तूने मेरे को माँ की गाली दी, मैंने तेरे को बाप की गाली दी, and dishum. Kapil Sibal has been a union cabinet minister. If you remember, during the India-US nuclear deal, he was the go-between between the Congress and the other parties, and he had access to sensitive nuclear information, which he was authorized to share with these other parties to get them on board to support the deal. And such a senior man, brilliant lawyer, just being attacked like that by
Crazy.
ordinary party workers. Where is the action against these party workers? Has the Congress decided to expel any of these party workers? No. Obviously, it's been not just authorized, it's probably been directed from Rahul Gandhi's own house by his own minions.
That's what one doesn't understand, Professor Sengupta. I mean, this thing is just spiraling, isn't it? You have Sidhu, who's again thrown another tantrum. And, yesterday I was watching Republic, and Arnab had a Congress spokesperson on Republic. And the spokesperson very clearly said that Sidhu is an asset to our party. And at the same time, you have someone like Sunil Jakar, who's going online. First of all, their leaders going online and doing press conferences and all just goes to show that there is some real issue when it comes to being heard in that party. Because these are not people who've left the Congress. They're very much a part of the Congress. They're not, out and rebelling. No, they're part of the Congress, but yet they are compelled to go public and issue statement after statement.
First, let's come back to what happened with Sibal. No doubt, very condemnable. But the fact is, there's some poetic justice in this. As minister, Sibal passed some pretty regressive laws and went after quite a few journalists. In the aftermath of this, quite a few very senior journalists have tweeted what Sibal did to them when he was in the cabinet and when they were critical journalists.
So I think you're talking about Kanchan Dada, na? Kanchan Dada
Yes,
said that.
Kanchan Gupta basically has tweeted.
Yeah.
Now the question is, of course, just does not justify what has happened to him. But let us face this. Media condemnation about what has happened in Sibal's place is also muted. people have not gone ballistic about what has happened in Kapil Sibal's place. It is only you and I who probably are talking about it. For the rest of the media, it's over now. Look, there has been a pattern in this. From Mumbai, they've got this inspiration where the MVA, particularly the Shiv Sena, has used its stormtroopers to go after journalists. We know that. We know how the rest of the media has handled that. They've basically chosen to shut their eyes to it. And obviously, therefore, one gets ideas. Look, I can do this. So if there are critical voices that are being raised, and now they are being raised all over the place. Look, you carry out mess after mess after mess. Your spokesmen try to be smart. They say certain things they had no business saying, and somebody else tries to do something about it, and he makes the situation worse. So under those circumstances, it all basically starts going south. So when the G23, who've been marginalized, and by the way, who have not particularly covered themselves with glory in the recent years, that's why they've been sidelined, and new set of incompetents have been brought in. So they start saying certain things. They start criticizing things. They are aghast at what has happened to Captain Amarinder Singh. So what do? You send people. Look, there is no doubt that in Delhi, if Kapil Sibal has been set upon, it has been a planned act. As to how planned it has been, one could,
He's
about.
very clear. He's saying
But
a command performance. I mean, he is not using any words.
Command performance is also a very measured term. Command, I would say, who are actually running the party, those who are running the party. Who's running the party, I don't know. Possibly the siblings and the mother. But command basically is a bullet fired towards the family, not aimed at hitting them, but frightening them. Look, I'm close to naming you. That's basically what this command thing means.
Yes.
But the fact is, as I said, this is a natural outcome of what we saw the MVA doing in Mumbai. They felt it worked because, whatever you may call it, a doyen of journalism had to shift base. They had to shift base, they had to mute their criticism, and now they believe, okay, we can't do it with other people, but certainly I can keep my party people in line basically by showing them this is what I can do. And all Kapil Sibal may have done a lot for the party, he may have done a lot for the family. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
No dissent will be tolerated. You are a minion, a family retainer, that's it. And this is something now Kapil Sibal is finding out to his cost. What lessons he will take from it, God knows.
But Professor and Abhijit, I mean, are the Gandhis even in control anymore? That's the question. Because you have such an exodus, first of all, that's happening. Then you have these public pronouncements, utterances, statements coming from all over. You have Chhattisgarh MLAs literally strapped into their airline seats at all times. You have Rajasthan, where a desert storm is constantly brewing. Are they really in control anymore, or are we seeing the beginning of what can eventually be a split in the Congress? Now, Captain has gone, he's left the Congress, he's going to take people with him. So are you going to see like a sort of a chipping away of the party where where people can break away, they're breaking away? Or are you going to see a split down the middle? Because all said and done, the G23 is increasingly vocal, but the G23, do they have the mass base to make a split like that happen also?
Look, most of the people in the G23 have been old Congress hands. They either know how to work the system or they know how to win their own seats. Okay, unlike Rahul Gandhi, they don't need minions running around for them to make them win their seat. And when loss is inevitable, they shift base and run to another state 1,500 kilometers away just to get a safe seat. Right? So there's this whole thing happening out there that what Rahul Gandhi calls generational change. What does he mean? He just wants absolute power centered on himself. Now, you tell me, is there any situation? Does a new prime minister, a new president anywhere come into the world where there are no checks and balances on his or her power? Never. What Rahul wants in the name of generational change is absolute unchecked loyalty and power, where nobody can question him. He creates the Congress party in his own image. Nobody has the right to call him out. And therefore, what he means by generational change is not a generational change per se. It's like the Kamaraj plan. You want people that are absolutely loyal to you. And how do you gauge their loyalty? It's not because of their ability to speak the truth to you. It's their ability to essentially brown nose you. Right? You look at everybody in his close circle. What they do is they protect him from outside information, and there is no accountability in that close circle. It doesn't matter how many elections he loses. That same close circle is kept closer and closer and closer still. So he wants, what you're seeing now is not just an older generation that want to now move away. It's also a younger. How is Jyotiraditya Scindia an older generation? How is Jiten Prasada an older generation? Right? They're all the younger generation. They're all Rahul's generation or younger to him. And yet they want to move away. So the problem here is, one, he wants a concentration of power which no structure in a democratic party would ever allow. In fact, there's no structure even in a closed dictatorship. You take Stalinist Russia or Kim Jong-un's North Korea, even there are internal party checks and balances on the power of Kim Jong-un and Joseph Stalin. Which there is none in this particular. Well, he wants it to be so that there are none. So he wants that removal, which they're not willing to do. And the younger generation also, he's not willing to trust or give power to or whatever. So, it's that stage where I think he was desperate enough to order this attack. And I think they are now riled up enough saying, for you to take disagreements like this into the physical realm, to have physical attacks ordered on us, enough is enough. Right?
Yeah.
And what is amusing is that even now, Manish Tiwari has chosen to be extremely measured. Captain Amarinder Singh has been extremely measured. Kapil Sibal himself has been extremely measured. Everybody else commenting about it has been extremely measured. How long is this going to continue? I mean, you have a dunce foisted as your president who's not really your president, who doesn't want to take any responsibility for anything. At some point, something's got to give. I don't know what's got to give out here, but something's got to give.
No, and Priyanka Gandhi was in Lucknow today. They were showing her images and things like that, it's business as usual. But even in UP, you have like senior leaders, Jitin Prasad's left, and there's another person, Tripathi, who's some 4th-generation congressman, like his great-grandfather, grandfather, father, that kind of a family, it has left and might go to the Samajwadi Party or has already. I haven't frankly tracked it too closely. But you're seeing this exodus. You're absolutely right. Sushmita Dev has left.
Also Goa. Luigino Falero left. Now, if Luigino Falero left, how long before the other Faleros also leave? Right?
The other Falero,
Eduardo Falero and all of those other people. And, Sonia Falero and her husband, Mr. McKnight. I mean, Sonia Falero's tried every trick in the book to conceal the fact that she's a Congress chief minister's daughter on her Wikipedia page. But, everybody knows that her husband is one of the business partners and things like that as well. Brian McKnight or something like that. You tell me what party is going to stand by and watch.
Abhijit, Brian McKnight is the singer of those love ballads.
Something. Same thing, yaar. They fall into the same category. They have no political substance. They're just show walas. It's tomorrow. It's like Salman Khan coming and saying, "Main ladunga Ghaziabad ka election." And what is his idea of political campaigning? Pulling up his shirt and showing his six-pack abs.
But I will win.
Bhai may win. Bhai may actually win as opposed to these guys. But look, you have your entire political strength, so-called political strength in parliament comes from 2 states, Punjab and Kerala. for you to be so monumentally stupid that you're completely destroyed 50% of your chances in the next parliamentary election through this. How reckless, stupid, self-centered do you have to be? I will let the whole party burn if I am not given power. I don't know when the sense of self-preservation of these Congress leaders kicks in and they kick the Gandhi family out of the primary membership of the Congress party.
Professor, yeah, go ahead, Professor.
You see, he wants power, but he does not want the responsibility. This is a big problem. So, from time to time, you have these CWC resolutions authorizing him to do a lot of things. But when it comes to follow up, he is so inept that either his follow up goes horrendously wrong or he doesn't follow up at all. I mean, politics is a full-time game. You can't rush off to Bangkok or Italy or wherever it is you rush off to from time to time. You have to give this a lot of time. You have to give this a lot of thought. You also have to get in right people. You have to ensure that conflicts are managed and they're accommodated. For example, Sindhya's departure from Madhya Pradesh was, I think, eminently avoidable. He had to be accommodated. His men had to be accommodated. Now, he couldn't take it any longer. He left. Now, Sachin Pilot could have left also. Of course, Sachin Pilot decided that come what may, he's not going to go to the BJP or whatever the question is. So that did not happen. But it was not the sagacity of Rahul Gandhi or Priyanka Gandhi that led to the Rajasthan government being saved. But in Punjab, one election that has been won by the captain on his own for Punjab. Even in 2016-17, there was talk that he would leave if he was not made the leader of the campaign. And it was Priyanka who basically reassured him that he would particularly leave the campaign. And he won the state twice. He won the state in 2017 17 assembly elections, and he carried it in 2019 as well. And here is this man, here is this particular state, which has now, where the Congress has been brought to its knees by some extremely inept handling. That is the problem. Now, the question is the following. What does he do? Is there any course correction? Does he sit back and think, look, there are certain people who have trusted who are just not playing it? No. What does he do? He keeps on depending on that old circle, that old comfort zone that he has gotten into time and time again. And when such a person whose abilities or the lack of it are now eminently clear to all is unwilling to assume responsibility, wants power, unwilling to get out of his comfort zone, unwilling to marginalize those whose advice has not worked, what else do you expect to see? So what is happening now? Look, in some parties, in some areas, Congress, see, this is, I think, an intensification of a Congress disease. Mamata Banerjee is more of a congressman than many congressmen. It is because she refused to compromise with the CPM, whereas the parent party was. That is why she has said enough is enough and she left. Jagan was not being accommodated. He was being constantly marginalized. He also left. So you have powerful Kshatrabs who could win elections in their own right, leaving, and their states are leaving along with it. Now look, if somewhere down the line, if all these disparate Congress groupings, and they are congressmen, I know Mamata will call herself a member of the Congress. You go to Trinamool offices, it is Indira Gandhi's photo and Mahatma Gandhi's photo that adorn their offices. So the fact is, she calls herself a congressman. Now the question is, if these people were to get together and talk to the grand old men of the Congress, let us take over the party. Very interesting things can happen. Of course, then who would be the prime ministerial candidate or who would not be, would be another matter that would need to be sorted out. But if these people got together, automatically, given the number of seats that they have in the Lok Sabha, they would be the largest single grouping. Where would that lead to the Congress to? And by the way, Congress also has a substantial number of MPs from Tamil Nadu, not just Kerala and Punjab, but that is largely because the DMK, in a sense, has carried them along. That's all.
No, but Abhijit, I mean, this is interesting. Do you think there could be a coup d'etat, with these ex-Congressies coming in? And don't forget Sharad Pawar, uh, sort of coming in and taking over
Look,
along with.
I think there's a desperate need right now. Remember, when there was the Congress O, there was the Congress I, they all broke away, and then they became the real Congresses and things like that. Remember, today,
Came
what we call the Indian National Congress is actually the Congress I. They've assumed the mantle of the Indian National Congress, which they realistically went. So it's I think there is a case to be made if Sharad Pawar, Mamata Banerjee, and Jagan come together and plot with the G23, saying we're all going to merge tomorrow morning, and we will, at the meeting of the newly united parliamentary party, we will pass a resolution expelling the Gandhis from the. And mind you, this can't be done without expelling the Gandhis from the Congress, because the mother is not allowing. The mother realizes the mother won 2 elections. So she probably has a much better political acumen than the 2 children do. But it's Putramo. She's not going to allow her kids to be pushed aside. And even now, apparently, she does nothing. What did she respond when Captain told her, I've never been humiliated this way? What was her response? She didn't fix anything. She just said, I'm sorry, Amarinder, apparently.
Yeah.
Right? So she's not willing to second guess her child. So the 3 of them have to be kicked out from the Congress. And never has this country needed an opposition more than now. Because we don't have an opposition. Your biggest opposition party is only 50 seats strong. Tell me, when was the last time we were in a situation like this? 40, 50 years back at best? Otherwise, you need an opposition of 100, 120, 150 to create some kind of an impact. I think that has to happen. The TMC, the NCP, and the Jagan Congress, they have to come together, and they have to somehow, coup the entire Indian National Congress and merge together. And in this case, their personal interests are not going to be affected that much. If you look at their home states, they're each about 40 seats in the Lok Sabha. Well, Jagan's state has kind of been bifurcated now, but still, they can still work through a modus vivendi, because as regional satraps, they are not threatening each other's power bases. So I think this is the real need of the hour. There is the need for the Congress to reform and kick these 3 actors out. These 3 actors and their malignant little brown noses.
But it's quite clear, Professor, that Mamata is going to go at it alone. She has national ambition. She thinks she can take it on. She's fixing to get ready for Goa. She's got Tripura on the stove, so to speak. There's Bengal. Okay. So she's definitely, kind of fanning out. She's not waiting for this sort of coming together of opposition parties and all of that. She's looking at the PM's chair, and she's going about now getting a few states in order.
Okay, PM chair for Mamata is quite some time away. But what she can do and what she is doing is basically going in those particular states where the strength of the Congress, the entire organization can be taken over. You can do a hostile takeover of the organizational structure in that particular state. Tripura is a very good example. Not a very big state, you take over. So if you do something in Tripura, it has its reflections in Assam. Again, not a very big organization, can be taken over. Goa can also be taken over. Now, if you look at the number of Lok Sabha seats, they may be very limited. But if you look at the impact that it can create and the thoughts that it could put in the minds of, say, the G23, then a lot of things can happen. And then, you can start talking to people like Sharad Pawar, Jagan, etc. Let's get together. Expelling the Congress would be difficult, because expelling the Gandhis would be difficult. La Familia can only be dismissed or expelled by the Indian National Congress. The Trinamool cannot do it. The Nationalist Congress Party cannot do it. Jagan Congress cannot do it. It has to be done by people who are within the Congress itself. So, right now, within the Congress, I have no doubts that the control over the MLAs of the family is possibly substantial, and in the organization too, it's possibly substantial, although the organization is shrinking very, very fast. Expelling them will not possibly help. But what they can do is, once they join hands together and they seem to be getting momentum, then you can take out the Congress state by state. Possibly not the large states right now, the smaller states you will be able to do, because one thing that Mamta has is basically aggression. And that is something that a lot of congressmen, I talk to some congressmen even in Jammu and Kashmir, they admire that. Now, how big is the Jammu Kashmir Pradesh Congress Committee? Not very large. Can it be taken over? Given the current circumstances, it can be. In my opinion, it can be. But that would be sequential. Take a small state first, create an impact. Take a slightly larger state, create an impact. And then, you sequentially you go up the ascending order of the size of the states. Elections are in 2024. A lot can happen. A lot can happen. Who knows? The emperor, the imperial family may actually abdicate, because the son's heart is clearly not in politics. He say, okay, fine, let me go to Italy or Bangkok forever.
I don't buy that anymore, because we've been saying this forever. He's a reluctant politician, blah, blah, blah.
No, he is not a reluctant politician. He's a politician who wants power without responsibility.
Yeah, so he's been in power for 20 years. So, like, saying his heart is not in it and all, I think no. I think his heart is definitely in it. He just, he likes
okay. He'll have a change of heart. He'll have a change of heart. And then he'll go away to Bangkok or Rome, as the case may be. And I think these people will have sufficient grace to put them on a pedestal, where like the roadside shrine, when you pass by, you will do your pranam, but will not have actually that much power. That's a scenario that one can think about. Of course, prior to that, I think there are other people in these groupings who also have visions or dreams of becoming prime minister. So who actually becomes the prime ministerial candidate in this new Congress will be another matter altogether.
So, Professor, what I'm understanding from what you're saying and what Abhijit is saying is that they don't necessarily need to even win these states. The states where there is a weak or a disenchanted Congress organization in place, they need to basically just acquire them and rebrand them.
Yes.
Essentially.
I suspect that will happen in Goa also. I suspect. If in these elections they don't win, if they damage the Congress sufficiently, the takeover will occur.
Now, Abhijit,
Mamta feels she has the wind behind her back. So let me take it over. That can happen.
Yeah, Abhijit, the other thing is also that each one of these are dynasts in their own right, and perpetuating dynastic politics in their individual parties. So, be it Jagan Reddy or Sharad Pawar or Mamta Banerjee and her nephew. So these are definitely in the same mold as the original Congress, or the Congress I guess, which is the present Congress.
Mm-hmm.
So, how are they going to decide a leadership amongst themselves? Is that, what I'm trying to figure out? Because the Congress, the reason why it works to a certain extent, at least as in a sense that our grouping, not necessarily successful politically or winning elections, is because the Gandhis have this preeminence, and then the others are just sort of there. But in this configuration, that's going to be very difficult.
Not necessarily. I know this has been a story that's been doing the rounds for a long time, that somehow the Gandhis prevent all the chieftains from fighting, the preeminence of the Gandhis. But the preeminence of the Gandhis has, for the last 20, 30 years at least, rested purely on the fact that they act like the President of India does. A sort of a kind of neutral-ish figure who doesn't really get down into micromanaging and things like that, and depends on a set of advisors like Ahmed Patel and the entire CWC for advice. It was generally collective decision making. Now, the problem here is not Sonia Gandhi, I repeat. The problem is Sonia Gandhi's love for her children and the unwillingness of the children to listen to the collective decision making. So anything that replaces it right now would still be good. But let's look at the congresses that split up. Let's look at, say, the NCP, which had three leaders, Purno Sangma, who Mamta called Amar Akbar Antony. So there was Sharad Pawar, Purno Sangma, and there was the Muslim gentleman whose name I forget now.
From Maharashtra. Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll get to it.
Yeah.
Antul? No, well, it wasn't Antul. Wait, I'll get you that. I'll get you
Right.
Tariq Anwar.
Tariq Anwar. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Tariq Anwar. And they managed just fine. Now, you look at the total number of seats that these chaps bring in. West Bengal, say, Didi brings in about 20 seats. Jagan brings in about 20 seats from Andhra. Sharad Pawar brings in about 20 seats from Maharashtra. That already gives you 60, which is more than the 52 that the Congress has right now. And that 52 is going to be chopped considerably because Punjab goes. There were belts and pockets that they won in Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, which was the sort of third biggest chunk, plus a few in Tamil Nadu. Now, what makes you think that Stalin or anyone is happy with the current state of affairs? Because Stalin knows that if he sets his foot too far out of line, how hard the BJP will crack down on him. So he also needs a credible opposition in order to be ensconced in his own thing. Now, between Jagan, between Mamta's nephew is being prosecuted by the ED. Jagan has his own legal problems. The NCP Shiv Sena combined are caught up in what is happening with Parambir Singh and that Sachin Vaz thing. You think the threat...
Abhijit, I don't know if you've caught this. They're saying Parambir Singh has actually fled. I mean, it's insane. They're bad cops, and then there's Parambir Singh.
But apparently he's been in New Zealand for the last 2 weeks. Apparently everybody knew he had run off 2 weeks back. He's been in New Zealand for a while now, as I hear it. So I don't know why the media just woke up to this now, but we've all known this for almost 2-3 weeks now. So I don't know what the big brouhaha suddenly is. So I'm like, Parambir Bhagya, I'm like, अच्छा आपको अभी पता चल रहा है, बहुत हैरानी की बात है.
Government, God bless them, Mahavikas Aghadi.
Right. Now,
ministers kind of shocked. That's why.
Now, look, Kerala is this unique thing where it is the bastion for every rotten idea in India. The communists have lost every other state, but they can hold on to Kerala. And I suspect the more left that Rahul Gandhi goes, Kerala will become his bastion. But mind you, even there, they couldn't win for the first time in 50 years, the pendulumic nature of Kerala politics stopped and the communists won re-election. I mean, how big a Ghochu do you need to be, yaar? I mean, Ghochu hai aur fir Rahul Gandhi hai. So it's I think there is enough of a threat. In international relations, we've got this doctrine called the balance of threat. That even when, so for example, Stalin and the capitalist West hated each other, but when Nazi Germany became enough of a threat, they still united to fight it. I'm waiting to see, and the balance of threat has two components to it, that your opponent gets more and more powerful, but also that your allies get weaker and weaker and weaker. So, there is a need for the Congress to hit rock bottom before Jagan, Sharad Pawar and Mamta decide enough is enough. Right now, Mamta seems to, like Dipankar said, seems to want to go it on her own. The problem is the Bengal leader is not going to have national acceptability. There is a certain aura of having the Congress around you. Now, assume these three leaders come together and they say we're forming the National Congress, not the Indian National Congress, the National Congress. Okay. What does that do? It creates a very powerful imagery, and like Dipankar said, they can start gobbling up. I know the Tamil Nadu thing is particularly weak. They can gobble up Tamil Nadu. That's about 10 seats. Punjab now is going into, where Jahannam or wherever it's going. You pick up all the captains' factions out there, those types out there. Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh, after what just happened out there, do you think anybody wants to continue with this leadership? Of course not. They want to change. So there's lots of things you can pick up, and then you petition the election commission to say that we are the Congress. These people aren't the Congress at all.
I mean, it's going to be fascinating if they actually get together and do that. I just don't know. I don't, but Abhijit, you said something interesting. When the Congress hits rock bottom, what exactly would be rock bottom? I'm confused.
So that's what I don't know. For me, 44 was already rock bottom. 52, then they said it was a black swan event. It wasn't going to happen. But then 52, 52 hota kya hai, right? 44 in a maths exam is the same as 52 in a maths exam, right? You're still getting, in Tamil Nadu, it used to be either you score 100 or it's equivalent to scoring 0 in your mathematics exam. It's a bit like that. If you're not going to go double digits, then you're a loser, basically. You can't get any worse. I mean, even after emergency, Indira Gandhi didn't get such a big setback. She still got about 140, 150 seats more, I think, seats at that point of time. Now, I don't know what is rock bottom. What is the psychological rock bottom for the Congress? 20 seats? Or are they going to just, go the way the CPI did? At one point of time, remember, after just before its calamitous fall, 10 years before that, the CPIM was the biggest, third or fourth biggest. Remember, they got together, the left combined had about 65, 70 seats in parliament together. And suddenly, 2 elections later, they were down to a single-digit party. Now, even then, they haven't mended their ways. So, I don't know what is rock bottom out here. For me, the rock bottom has already been reached. But I think if they become a single-state party, I think it's important, it is crucial that Tamil Nadu MPs, Punjab MPs and Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh MPs get taken away before that rock bottom. Well, even if the Gandhis don't realize that their electoral fortunes are over, at least the other leaders might have the good, say 23. 23 out of 52 is what? Almost 50% of the Congress party. Not all of them are Lok Sabha MPs, unfortunately. But I don't think they should have trouble finding about 26, 27 of the 52 and take them along.
Wow. How much does insecurity have to play in this? Because when I'm looking at this, I'm seeing some leaders like Sindhya, who took a good chunk of MLAs away with him being kicked out, pretty much. You have someone like a Sachin Pilot, itching to kind of branch out, really did make an effort also, couldn't pull it off. Then you have a Captain Amarinder Singh who's just left. So you're leading, these mass sort of leaders are leaving. And then you're bringing in Kanhaiya, who lost his election by a couple of lakhs and is a good orator. You're bringing in Sidhu, who has only ever been an MP and is a good orator. You're bringing in Jignesh Mevani, who only won his seat because you didn't put up a candidate against him, else he wouldn't have won his seat. So what kind of exchange policy is this? At least if the BJP is taking in people like Himanta Biswa Sarma or Sindhya, they're bringing in seats, they're bringing in MLAs, MPs, what have you. They're able to win states. What kind of exchange policy is the Congress up to, and how much does insecurity have to do with this? Professor?
Look, no comparison. You can't compare Hemanta Biswa Sarma with the jokers that the Congress have brought in. For the first time, in the aftermath of the CAA...
Stop yawning, Advaita. So rude.
I'm just gay. By the way, somebody told me on my previous show that Abhijit is defaming you on Twitter. So I've had Raghav Avasthi, my lawyer, who I think also represents you in some minor case. And he said that he'll dump you as a client and take me on because I'm more...
Yes, I have Amit Datta, who's a very major lawyer, who's promised me that he's filing defamation against you.
Yeah. So...
No, sorry.
Go ahead, Professor.
Hemanta Biswa Sarma was able to frame the question with respect to CAA in such a manner and put it to the people of Assam that the Assamese and Bengali Hindus came together, quietly voted for him and went away. The question, you have to frame certain questions very starkly with conviction. You have to have the courage to be unpopular. And he framed it so starkly that the people who voted for the BJP realized that there was no other choice. So you just can't compare Hemanta Biswa Sarma with these jokers that the Congress have got in.
You will know, Professor, when those are the people exiting and these are the people coming in, then you are going to compare those two.
Okay. Now let's come back to this particular issue. When the Congress hit rock bottom, that is, I think, a crucial question. To a great extent, rock bottom, what is rock bottom will depend on what happens to the former congressmen, the Kshatraps, the Bengal Congress, the Andhra Congress, the Maharashtra Congress, etc. If they come together, and if Congress workers feel, and if there's a feeling that is created, there is wind behind their backs, then I think the transfer of Congress organizations state by state will become very, very easy. For that, I think in the 1 or 2 years, some successes have to be seen or some developments have to be seen, even in the smaller states. It could be Tripura, it could be Goa, it could be Assam. If those organizations, in a sense, are taken over, then this rock bottom thing, or even before the Congress can actually hit rock bottom, the transfer of organization can take place very, very easily. Abhijit spoke about Tamil Nadu. Remember, this time the Congress's vote share was far lower than it was in the 2014 elections. It is because it had allied with the DMK that that number of seats in the Lok Sabha plus the Punjab performance took it to 52. Otherwise, it would have been in the 30s. So I think, depending on what Mamta, Sharad Pawar and Jagan do, rock bottom is quite closer than we think it is. I doubt whether the Congress will have to shrink to nothingness for rock bottom to come in, because nothingness would mean that you may have nothing to take over. That is not something I think that these three people would want. They would want to take over something. And I believe if they play their cards, they will be able to take over. Because such is the status of Congress. See, initially, the UP Congress would be a very strong Congress. And since it was directly controlled by the family, to a great extent, it gave them a lot of protection about a lot of things. Yeah. There is no particular center of power state from which they can stand and tell their challengers, okay, challenge me out here. No. The loss of Amethi has amply demonstrated that the family per se has no base. That has been demonstrated. And therefore, I don't think there'll be much problems if the state organizations, be it Madhya Pradesh, be it Rajasthan, be it Gujarat, suddenly decide, okay, there is this particular new grouping. I think our fortunes will be better if they are in this particular grouping, because after all, those people are also congressmen. And they are old congressmen. I recognize them. I have been in them. I have been with them in many Congress working committees. So I believe, in a sense, rock bottom is not as far away as we suspect it would be. I think it is not too far away, provided these people get their act together.
But, just to be the devil's advocate in the last 10 minutes of our conversation, there has been this conversation about the old guard and the new guard and the resistance of the old guard to leave, and Rahul Gandhi sort of insisting that he's not going to take over unless the old guard doesn't exit and he has a free run of the party. So maybe it had to come to this pushback and this pushing out, literally shoving people out of the party, was something that was inevitable in many ways. Abhijit?
Look, why are they being shoved out? Right, we need to ask ourselves that question. Are they being shoved out or are they leaving? Because I don't think, this is like disposable income. Your MPs are like disposable income. When you have very high disposable income, you can afford to, throw 2,000, 3,000 rupees on some useless purchase on Amazon. But when your entire disposable income is only 10,000 rupees a month, you can't afford to buy those silicon spatulas or, I don't know, the cuckoo clock or something like that you wanted. You don't have that. Right now, so if you apply that disposable income concept to MPs or MLAs, the Congress doesn't have that luxury right now. So this isn't people being kicked out. It is people who are, essentially leaving a sinking ship, number one. Number two, the way it was explained to me is that Rahul and Priyanka, they are so dissociated in their own little bubble. They genuinely apparently believe in private that in the next election they can win 300-400 seats.
No, they don't.
They actually do. They actually do, because the people around them essentially cushion them from bad news. If you look at what all the known Congress courtier Twitterati were tweeting, when Himanta Biswal Sarma left, I remember a lot of people were tweeting, "Oh, this is such a horrible man. The Congress is better off if he leaves." When Jyotiraditya Scindia left, I saw the same people saying, "Oh, this is such a horrible man. It's better if he leaves." When Sachin Pilot raises the flag of revolt, like, who is Sachin Pilot? He has only 70 MLAs out of 140. I forget how many. He has no business. He's already been given a lot. He shouldn't be given any. If he wants to leave, shame on him. Now, I think because none of us are in that power position to understand the power of courtiers around us, I fully expect that one day in the future, in some fantasy land, in a galaxy far, far away, where I am the galactic emperor and have my own courtiers, they'll all be telling me, "Sir, the bald head is the greatest epitome of human beauty. It's like the Buddha's tejas. It is the radiance glowing." And I will also be going, bilkul sahi, mera I am Swami Surya Mastakananda, Swami Sri Surya Mastakananda, Tejasmai Surya Mastakananda, whatever. Okay. I think because none of us come from that kind of a background, we don't understand how complete the mind capture is. This people like this JNU speechwriter Sandeep, he used to be running around the BJP headquarters seeking a ticket for a long time. You know that, no?
No, I didn't.
Yeah. First he was in the CPI. Then he used to hang around BJP headquarters, not the new one in Deen Dayal Upadhyaya Marg. The old one in Ashoka Road, was it, or whatever? He used to be hanging out there trying to get a BJP ticket. Then suddenly he got into the good graces of Rahul Gandhi. So this one. Now then they thought the sister at least will be a counterbalance to the brother. No, she takes the same people. Now you look at the assets and liabilities out here. Of course they'd want to leave. Tell me in which universe is a Kapil Sibal less useful to you than a Jignesh Mevani or a Kanhaiya Kumar? What are Jignesh Mevani and Kanhaiya Kumar bringing to the table? You're taking on bad debts and liabilities. वो तो खुद अपना बेगूसराय जीत नहीं सका, even though he is one of the Bhumihars. That is a Bhumihar constituency. He couldn't even win his own Bhumihar constituency. Jignesh won. Why? Because like Dipankar pointed out, it's because nobody put up a candidate.
That's Advaita pointed that out.
Advaita pointed that out. So where? And you are letting go of Kapil Sibal, who knows the ins and outs of government. So I don't care what. I realize he's done a lot of things. He had Shivarur and people like that banned from Twitter for putting up certain things, though that they then claimed it was a mistake and it got...
Did you remember Kanchan Gupta said on Twitter that when he was in some serious trouble, he called him up as a journalist and said, and he says, "Well, too bad," or something to that effect.
Something like that. So,
yeah, when he was in...
Right. But look, so Kapil Sibal might have done all of that. But Kapil Sibal could deliver the goods when it was required, because Kapil Sibal isn't a vote getter. Kapil Sibal is he's a Lutyens behind the scenes eminence grace. So he has his own value. Shashi Tharoor, in spite of all of it, I mean, you can make fun of him and say he's the Tharoorist. What is a terrorist that kills you with words? It's a Tharoorist, apparently. So you can claim he's a terrorist and all these jokes, but he's managed to win his constituency. If you go to his constituency, people genuinely feel a great sense of gratitude to him. They actually like him because he actually goes there, interacts with the people and delivers. Okay. You are dumping all these people. Manish Tiwari won his own thing with his own money and everything, his constituency.
In a very difficult election too.
In a very difficult election. Now you're dumping all these people for Jignesh and Kanhaiya because they're willing to do yes men things for you. There is no sense of internal balance. There is no sense of internal audit. It has become a catastrophically collapsing echo chamber where people inside the chamber don't realize it's collapsing.
Yes, Professor.
2 points. I think one question was raised that what will captain do now? I think we have to answer that question. But just to point out, you look surprised when Abhijit talked about the bubble that surrounds the siblings.
Yeah.
Why these siblings? You had this particular so-called whiz kid with his numbers, an economist, I think called Sir Dr. Jaideep Chakravarti or something like that, who basically made these predictions, and a large part of the media seemed to buy it. So the question is, it's not just the siblings, it's a large part of the Lutyens media which is ready to lap this up. Now, if these characters who are, say, as unscrupulous as the politicians are, but far more cleverer than the siblings, if they are willing to buy it, then what blame should we give the siblings? So there's a lot of people peddling snake oil, a lot of people are actually buying it, not just the siblings. I think, let us come back to the captain, because this was basically called in the aftermath of the captain leaving Congress.
But now that you mentioned this buying snake oil, etc., Prashant Kishore was supposed to be joining the party, but that hasn't happened. Just to put that out there.
That's Prashant Kishore, I think, should be a discussion for another day. But the thing is,
it was imminent. So
you see, the question is, what will the captain do? I've pointed out in the last couple of shows, the captain will not join the BJP. He's made that very clear, but he won't be with the Congress either. I think he's made his noises on national security vis-a-vis Dogal. He has made his noises vis-a-vis the farmers in his meeting, apparently with Amit Shah. So he has made 2 noises, sending signals to his constituency that I'm with the farmers, but on national security issues, no compromise. That signal has been sent. Now, if he strikes out on his own, and if the 2 parties manage it, Amarinder with his party and the BJP, I think we are looking at a coalition out here which can create a lot of movement in Punjab. Don't rule it out. I think that's going to happen. Amarinder, in a sense, will do what Nitish did 20 years ago, 25 years ago with the BJP in Bihar, making that entry into Lalu land where the BJP just found itself could not enter. I think that entry, in a sense, will be made in Punjab if Amarinder strikes out on his own.
Okay, and really, and one of our viewers brought this up, and I think it's important. See, there's also a lot of real estate associated with the Congress. It's got a lot of property. There is money, so it's just not the politics of it. It's also the fact that you have control over a lot of real estate and money, and I think that's a very significant point that one of our viewers has made. Abhijit, can you comment on that?
And you know what the amazing thing is, when I talk to Congress leaders about it, they will tell you that it isn't used for the good of the Congress. It is used as a personal fief by the family that gets dispensed and taken back. Like, in medieval Europe, where the king used to determine that, Strasbourg will go to this duke, or if he had lost favor, it would be taken away from him, etc., etc., etc. In many ways, how Dmitry Medvedev's personal wealth, which is significant, even to this day, is dependent on the good graces of Vladimir Putin, because they are all board ships and gifts from Putin, where if Medvedev steps one single foot out, it all gets taken back. Right? So it is a sort of a very feudal setup out there, which is given to certain people in terms of board membership. National Herald, you remember who was on the board and who wasn't, and why they were put on the board and why they weren't. Right? So it is done in a very careful way. The way it was described to me is that the Gandhis are the Reserve Bank of India. What the Reserve Bank is to India, the Gandhis are to the Congress. Right? You can't run without a Reserve Bank or a central bank like that. And that is how it functions. So one of the things when you're getting rid of the Gandhis also has to be how to seize all the assets. Now, the issue is, if you want the government to get involved, first of all, why will the government get involved? Because Rahul, Sonia and Priyanka are the biggest gift to Narendra Modi since, I don't know, since Rajdeep went there and decided to cover the Godhra riots. I mean, nobody did more for his electoral prospects than Rajdeep's coverage of Godhra. And it's quite similar, I would still say that the BJP is still a party of 160 to 180. Narendra Modi makes it a party of 240 to 250. It is Rahul Gandhi that gives it the edge and makes it a party of 272 plus. ठीक है ना? So it's the truth. It's the truth. I mean, it's scientifically proven fact. So it's one of these things which why will Modi want to help somebody who wants to strengthen the opposition and get rid of this God-given gift that is Rahul Gandhi to the BJP? It's like, if Brahma himself comes and says, Putra, tum var mango, it's like spitting on Brahma's face and saying, Chal, put Buddhe yahan se. Why would you do that? Vishnu himself, this is like Dharma Kshetre, Kurukshetre, where, Krishna reveals himself in his form and says, Vats tum var mango, Arjun tum var mango. You can't do that.
जैसे चल रहा है वैसे ठीक है.
हाँ, तो जैसे चल रहा है बहुत अच्छा है. So first of all, the government won't help them get all that money. Second, you never know what they will do with that money. They will, knowing Rahul that he's willing to burn the Congress party in order to destroy all the checks and balances and concentrate power on himself. You don't know what he'll do with the property. He'll just dispose of it here, there, and they can't even say that कि ये सब बेनामी property है, ये है, वो है, and all of that. Otherwise, they'll get shafted quite bad. They can, of course, file for an injunction to get all those parties in the court. But, again, we don't know which of it is black and will get taken away permanently by the Gandhis and which of it will actually come to the Congress. But what is amusing is, despite the huge properties, they've never actually used it for the electoral benefit of Congress candidates. Even at this time, even in 2019, those Congress candidates had to go find their own money. They were not given anything by the party. Right? Because apparently Rahul only wants it to use it for himself. He sees it as his personal Jagir. He wants that Falcon 7 or Falcon 900, Dassault Falcon 900 or 7X or whatever it is to fly to Bangkok or Italy or wherever. Rather than, see that your party is in crisis, get rid of it and fund about at least 10 or 15 more MPs to win their seats. He won't do that. What do you do?
And this also brings me to that merger. At some point, it was said that NCP and Congress were planning to come together. This is a couple of years ago. And then it kind of stopped in the middle because of these kind of issues. Professor, you want to say something here?
No, why should NCP actually merge with the Congress? It doesn't work for the NCP. Let us face this. Had Sharad Pawar at his advanced age, not come out in the rain and campaigned for the Congress, for the combine, the two parties would have been decimated. So at his age, he has to come out and campaign. Now just imagine, having done that, having taken the lion's share of the load, if you allow these characters into your party, because that is what a merger means, they have sufficient experience to ensure that rather than Sharad Pawar taking over the Maharashtra Congress, they put so much problems in the Maharashtra Congress that Sharad Pawar ultimately has to leave. They can do that. So under those circumstances, it would be foolish for Sharad Pawar to join the Congress. And Sharad Pawar has made his, I think, opinions quite clear on this issue quite a number of times. If you choose to give it attention, the problem is that he makes a significant statement and it creates some furor for that evening or so, and nobody picks it up. Because that is the way the media, unfortunately, still runs. Nobody picks it up and takes it on. There are some channels who do, some channels who probably dare not do it any longer because there are consequences to this, as Kapil Sibal has found out. But the fact remains that Sharad Pawar has made his idea on the Congress, I think, very clear on a number of times. No way NCP is going to merge with the Indian National Congress. No way.
All right. And I think that's it for us for today. Thank you, AIM, for coming back on the show after so long. I think we should drop our suits against each other. I think this was quite a civil interaction. and we don't need to take each other to court now.
Huh?
Yes.
And
May the blessings of Holy Virgin Mary be with you. In nomine Patris Filii Spiritus Sancti, absolvo te. I absolve you of all your sins, my child. Your grave sins against me are forgiven. Like Christ turned his other cheek, I too turn my other cheek.
Mamta was supposed to go to that Vatican conference, but has not
Yes.
received permission from the center. Maybe you should apply and go there instead of her. I think
I
that
should.
might.
Many have told me that, my saintliness allows me to be beatified and canonized ultimately. I should.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes. Saint Abhijit has a ring to it here. Saint
Anna?
Abhijit.
I think so too, yeah.
What would be Latin for Abhijit?
It was actually, the Latin for Abhijit is actually the personal god of Constantine the Great, Sol Invictus, the unconquered sun. So Invictus. It would be
Invictus, yeah.
Invictus.
Unconquered,
Saint,
yes. Invictus.
Saint
Yes.
Invictus of Mylapore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Meghan Markle and Prince Harry as well. So,
Yeah.
and they do the Invictus game. See, it all comes together. But thank you so much. I hope to catch the viewers. Please like, share, subscribe. We will keep having these conversations. Punjab is still ongoing, and I'm sure we'll have more to discuss in the coming days, if not weeks. Abhijit, thank you for being back. You're looking well, and you back in good health and in on our screens again. And we'll see you on Sunday, I hope.
Yes, absolutely.
The Sunday Club.
Yes.
Oh, lovely. And Sengupta,
What are we discussing on Sunday?
thank you.
We're discussing my
On
beatification.
Sunday, I don't know. We'll discuss some of Punjab.
I think enough of Punjab.
Yeah, enough of Punjab. There's only so much butter chicken I can deal with.
Look at your stereotype. But no, I think Punjab. Okay, we won't discuss Punjab anymore. We'll discuss the takeover of the Congress by the free. We make it sound like one of those. What are those companies called? The ones that scavenge other companies and buy parts of it and break it down. And very Ayn Rand. We've been very Ayn Rand this episode. So anyway, thank you everybody. Have a great night. Stay safe, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.